Yo, the Detroit Pistons are in their off season. And if I'm honest with y'all, a lot of the talk that I'm hearing from a lot of Detroit Piston fans, commentators, YouTubers, it is real disappointing. And when I say disappointing, I mean it, it feels like a letdown because the Detroit Pistons organization and fan base is used to winning championships. And because they're used to winning championships, they should also be used to the process of what it takes to build a champion. And what I'm hearing is a whole lot of talk around what the mediocre teams do, right? The mediocre teams, they cycle out coaches every 2 to 3 years. They try to swing for the fences and bring in a savior to save them just so they can just be a little bit better than mediocre and they can get to average. And they can satisfy enough fans by being a first round exit or a play-in appearance, right? These are the things that organizations who should know better don't know better and end up doing. But I keep hearing the chatter that that's what folks is wanting. And get at me in the comment section if that's what you're wanting. Because in this video, I'm going to dive into all the reasons why you should not make these moves. Um, but yeah, let me get into the first one. The first thing is, who in your core are you giving up for somebody who might get you to the play-in? And when I say who are you giving up, what part of Jalen Duren, Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Asar Thompson are you going to give up in exchange to get somebody who is an all-star level talent? And if we're honest, if I could be 100% honest with you, what all-star is even coming? What all-star level player actually wants to come to the Detroit Pistons? Like, I don't know one. I don't know one single one out there who's even probably even has Detroit on their radar. And I'm saying that because when you think about what it takes to bring in an all-star level player, right? One, you're going to have to give back compensation. You're going to have to give them back assets because you don't have players. Maybe Isaiah Stewart is a good piece for, a team that might be contending. But what assets are you going to give up that's going to equal what you're trying to get back, right? The guys that are out there that have been in circulation are like Brandon Ingram, right? You have guys like DeMar DeRozan, Zach LaVine. DeMar DeRozan's what, 52 years old? Brandon Ingram's going to be a free agent, not this summer, but next summer. What player is coming to save you guys? Zach LaVine is injured every year, every single year. He can't even stay healthy when he's asking for a trade, knowing that he needs to put his talent out there for people to actually want him and trade for him. Right? Who's actually coming? And who are you willing to sacrifice and give up in order to get them? Right now, Cade Cunningham, despite his talent, has not elevated himself, nor has Jalen Duren to say, hey, this is a swap piece. It's even swap worthy, right? So right now you're in the position where you're almost going to have to give up one of those core pieces. But something that a lot of you are missing is that Troy Weaver has done one hell of a job in the draft. He has done an incredible job evaluating talent and bringing in the right talent onto this team. Look, one of the things I keep saying over and over and over again is that if this Detroit Pistons team can just be consistent with all the peaks that we saw from Jaden Ivey's 30-point outbursts, right? Cade Cunningham, his 30-point outbursts, right? Dominating games, taking over games. Jalen Duren, his incredible interior play, right? Crushing screens and rebounding. And Asar Thompson, defensive player of the year, worthy type of a defender who shows some, facilitation chops and ability to get downhill to the rim and, right? All these different things that you're seeing from this talent, Marcus Sasser in his big games, right? All these different things. Why are you not forecasting that if these guys can just put it together, this could be one hell of a team? And that's where I'm at. That's where my mindset is at. Stop looking for somebody to come in and save you and recognize you already have what you need. Simone Fontecchio is an amazing piece. Wouldn't be shocked if he's starting next season. Like, I personally want to see him starting at the forward position alongside of Jalen Duren. Then have Asar Thompson. You have his defense. He's flying around. He's one of those glue pieces. Fontecchio's shooting, I think, is going to be a great addition, and it's also going to help Cade Cunningham and Jaden Ivey because I think that they're going to find their shooting stroke and be consistent going into the next couple of seasons, especially because Cade is going into a contract year and Ivy's going into an extension year. I think they're going to be far more consistent. But when you look at the amount of shooting they're able to place on the floor, I think you're going to see a team that's going to take a huge jump next year, right? Just from what they already have. I think we also know that Isaiah Stewart is a great backup center. He's a great backup center. He's not a good backup. He's a great backup center. He's able to hit threes. He's able to get to the rim. He can post up, he can finish around the rim. He can defend the rim. He can do so many things extremely well, just not great, which is why he's not your starting center, right? And then you look at Marcus Sasser. I even like guys like Quentin Grimes. But the bonus for this team within what they have is as they take that next step, they're only going to get that much better. Keep in mind, Monty Williams was only in his first year as a coach. He really coached two different teams. He had one set of veterans that was coming back from injury, Bojan Bogdanovic, right, Alec Burks, Monty Morris, who never really got acclimated, right, and then you had Jaden Ivey was coming off the bench. Then all of a sudden, and I understood why he came off the bench. What starting point guard is dribbling the ball off his foot? Nobody. How many times have you seen Jalen Brunson dribble the ball off his foot? Zero. Tyrese Halliburton, right? Right? Like that's not what's going on out there. But at the same time, then when he did get into the starting lineup, he showed, hey, I can do a whole lot more from this position than I did in the other. So even though I may be still working on tightening up my handle and my decision making and understanding spacing, I'm still very valuable to you. And that's what he proved last season. So then you have a second team, right, where Ivy is in the starting lineup and you have a different set of veterans around them. Now, I think one of the things that I was encouraged by is that everybody had their moments. And that's what you want to see. You want to see guys have their moments where they can show what they can do that says, hey, we can build off of this. And this is why, once again, I'm shocked that everybody is clamoring for some saving grace, right? Brandon Ingram's not coming here to get you guys into the playoffs. Like, he's just not. He's just not. And what you have in terms of talent, what I foresee is the type of team that you're looking at the Oklahoma City Thunder as right now. Right now, the Oklahoma City Thunder, to me, are where the Detroit Pistons are going to be in about 3 years. In about 3 years. And some of you might be like, wow, that's a big stretch coming from the worst team in the NBA to now being a number one seed. But when I look at where they are, if they put these things together, if they don't go the way of most of these, average teams that just meander at the bottom of the league, who always do things like fire coaches every 2 to 3 years, constantly swing for the fences, and have to reboot the roster every 4 to 5 years, if they really take the path of a winner and they develop internally, build the chemistry, you guys should already be able to see their potential. You should be excited about that potential. You should be excited about what they could look like in year two with Monty Williams, what they could look like in year two with Ivy and Cade as a starting backcourt, what they could look like in year two with Asar Thompson now finding his rhythm, and you know what you're going to get from him. You should be excited about Simone Fontecchio starting at the forward position in his shooting and athleticism and size, right? You should be excited about this draft, not because there's a savior there. Once again, come on, follow me. Get the right players who fit your system. And the dope part about it is I feel like the people at the top of this draft are all the types of players that they should be targeting, right? Whether it's Alexander Sarr, right? 7'1" forward. He's not really a center. He's a forward, kind of a Chet Holmgren type of guy, right? The dope part about it is Chet Holmgren is already out here giving him a blueprint. Victor Wembanyama is giving him a blueprint, right? You don't have to stick him under the basket. You can be at the forward position, playing next to a Duran, playing next to an Isaiah Stewart, which I think is where he's going to be best. Roaming, being able to play off of other bigs, being able to stretch on the outside, hit threes, attack closeouts, defend the rim, pick and roll. I think he'd be great in pick and roll with Marcus Sasser. And I might even do a Detroit Pistons draft video after this. But it's to say that there's so much potential in this draft for the Detroit Pistons. I like Matas Buzelis, right? I think he's a perfect hybrid forward at 6'10". He's almost like that Franz Wagner type, right? I think he's got the body for it. He's got the agility. He could be a great combination forward, which they really need because when Asar's not in there, they can't stop a dime. They can't do anything on defense, and it just looks pitiful. And so you need somebody else you could bring in to bring that defensive pressure. And then I like Ron Holland. Ron Holland is a certified bucket. He's got a high motor, great athlete, about 6'7". He can get into his bag, get into his mid range, create shots, which is something that I think they lacked when Cade Cunningham would sit down. You didn't really have that guy who can get into the mid range, get a shot off. Ivy showed the ability to do so a little bit, but you could tell when you only got one or two guys and one of them goes out, it becomes easy for the defense to load up on the other. And Ivy's not the best at making decisions when the defense loads up on him. So you want multiple options out there. And I think Ron Holland is probably the best one and most ready to offer on both ends, where he's able to defend at a high level and he's able to score at a high level. Off top, coming off the bench, straight away, day one, he's going to be able to do that. So, as always, I want to know what you all think. Where do you think the Detroit Pistons are at for this offseason? Do you agree with my